नगरी तुल्यं निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्बोधभूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमहायोगीव यस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततन्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः. Verse 31. स्वधर्ममपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुमर्हसि धर्म्याद्युद्धात् श्रेयोऽन्यत् क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते. So Bhagavan is telling, considering your own duty, well, you should not waver from this, because it has been told here swadharmam api aveksha. Swadharmam cha api aveksha. Api also means considering aveksha your own duties. Well, na vikampitum arhasi, you don't deserve to waver from this. You should not waver. Why? Because dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyonyata kshatriyasya na vidyate. Kshatriyasya dharmyat yuddhat shreyaha na vidyate. So kshatriyasya means for a warrior, there is nothing greater than this dharma yuddha or a righteous war. This is the general meaning. So with the previous verse, Bhagavan concluded, as we discussed yesterday, this discussion on Atma Jnanam or Atmanatma Viveka basically, and with a single purpose of removing the disease. This is a human, universal disease. That's called Ragaha, Mohaha, Shokaha. Ragaha, Mohaha, Shokaha. That's a disease. The lakshana of the disease is this: Ragaha, attachment; Mohaha, delusion; Shokaha, sorrow. So this is, this is so common. The lakshana of this disease. This is also a pandemic. Everyone has this. Everyone has. Whatever who is born is infected with this. One who goes also till the death of the person, this remains. So Bhagavan is basically giving a medicine for this. Yes, Bhagavan has already discovered a vaccine for this, and he is giving this vaccine. And so for the sorrow also Bhagavan has given this very nice vision of Atmanatma Viveka. looking upon Anatma as a Atma is a source of sorrow. This is what in one sentence we can tell. That's all. Looking upon Anatma as a Atma is a source of sorrow. And it will be, because Anatma is very, very limited in terms of time, place and object-wise. And therefore you feel all the time limitation. And you cannot accept those limitations, because that's not your nature. And therefore you always want to come out of this limitation, not being your nature. And therefore and then whatever you do is all called shoka, is all called sorrow. Whatever we do, we feel also discomfort because of that's not my nature. And then to remove that discomfort, whatever we do is all called sorrow. In other words, they call samsara. And then so life of becoming and everything is involved in this. So sorrow, Bhagavan has given the medicine. And so what is Atma, what is Anatma? Bhagavan has given the clarity and discriminative inquiry. We did it along with Arjuna, we also did. And not only Bhagavan gave a vaccine for this Arjuna's this sorrow, but for delusion also. What was Arjuna's delusion? Whether I should fight this war or not. For Kshatriya, well, there should not be such kind of a thing. For Kshatriya, the situation has arisen and he is right to Kshatat Trayate iti Kshatriya. Kshatat. Kshata means some kind of an injury in the society. Through adharma, etc. Some kind of a violation, let's say. So, Kshatat Trayate. Trayate means protects. One who protects from this violation. To whom they protect? To society, to human being. And so, basically, or to all living beings. Not only human being, but to any living being. Basically, if somebody violates and hurts other living being, then Kshatriya's duty is without any call. He has to immediately protect. And that protection involves violence also. He is allowed. He is allowed to use even violence also. This violence, he has to, even whatever he has to do to control the person, etc., who violates, he is allowed. With the Dharma Shastra, he is allowed. Anyway. So, this kind of being a Kshatriya, and that too such a, valorous, this person, and he has got that idea whether I should fight it or not. That delusion, and therefore that delusion should go. And so Arjuna must be ready for to fight this Dharma Yuddha also. So they say always this misplaced ahimsa is as much bad as misplaced himsa. And therefore, so in the name of ahimsa, Arjuna should not withdraw from this battle which is going to save Dharma. And so for the sake of law and order, for the sake of Dharma, a Kshatriya should be ready to take to even violent methods. And in fact, Kshatriya's job is only to protect. He should have even a physical strength, etc. And what other things, whatever is required. He should be, dexter. He should be very, very, of course, he should be clever enough, skillful enough to protect the people from the violation, etc., through using weapons and everything. Anyway, so a Kshatriya should be ready to take to the violent methods. And this violence or himsa or this yuddha, of course, it's a last resort. And it's a dharmic method we call. And of course, samadama, danda, veda, etc., everything is there. We'll see that in case if we have to see in future. Anyway, so Arjuna should take to this war, and for that alone Krishna is approaching. Ultimately, Bhagavan's aim is to employ him again in the yuddha. And so 3 levels are there, so that Bhagavan's goal can be finished. So Bhagavan has first employed a method of a philosophical angle. From philosophical level, from Adhyatmic Drashti, Bhagavan has told that nothing to be grieved for, and therefore you get up and fight. I don't want to fight because they will be killed, and so that's a very, very sorrowful event, and etc., etc. And therefore I don't want to fight. So Bhagavan has given him a philosophical angle. Adhyatmic Drashti Bhagavan has given. That's the first thing, which we already said, between verse 12 to verse 30. Verse 30. And then the second level is ethical level, dharmic drashti, which we are going to discuss now. And third is a laukik drashti. That also Bhagavan is going to tell in this verse itself. So in this chapter itself, so from three angles, Bhagavan is trying to convince Arjuna to fight this war, which is righteous war, which is going to protect dharma. That's the job of a Parameshwara. So to see the people, that's the purpose of avatara itself, to protect dharma. I mean, so he employs varieties of the method. This is one of the method. And so empirical level also, the third level is empirical level. Bhagavan is going to tell, if you won't fight, you cannot show your face to the society and all that. He is going to tell later. So Laukika Drashti, that's called Laukika Drashti, empirical level. So three drashtis are there: Adhyatmik Drashti, Dharmik Drashti and Laukika Drashti. And so philosophical level is basically Atma never gets destroyed, etc. And therefore he should fight. Anyway, with this verse 30, Adhyatmik Drashti is over. And if Arjuna understands Krishna's teaching, well, then he does not require other two drashtis. Really speaking, from verse 30 onwards, it's not required. Honestly, it is not required at all. If he has understood this philosophical angle, Atmanatma Viveka, if he has understood it, and then seeing Bhishma and Drona with this perspective, and seeing himself also from their perspective, well, that he is not a karta, he is not a bhokta, etc. And Atma does not perform any action. Nobody, you are not a killer, etc. You are not a karta of a killing action, etc. You are not killed also, etc. So somebody is not going to get killed also with your arrows, etc. All this Bhagavan explained. Atma never dies also. It's all nature of existence. Everything in it is nitya. And nainam chindanti shastrani. So many things Bhagavan told about Atma. And even about subtle body also. And about the physical body also, Bhagavan said very beautifully that this is going to it is going to be destroyed. Even if you don't destroy in this war, it is going to be destroyed. It is in the process of destruction right now, at this moment. There is no sustenance as such. I told you in the morning. That's just a myth. That's, I think, linguistics people have put this present tense, etc. Well, I will talk to you tomorrow. Anyway, so he does not require, in fact, any solution for his problem of this sorrow, etc. And he should get up and fight. But unfortunately, he has not appreciated this vision, it seems. Because Bhagavan otherwise would not have started this verse 31. But he has not appreciated. And because definitely it requires a certain maturity. And that to bring the maturity or to make him qualified so that he can appreciate this philosophical angle, or he can do independently then Atmanatma Viveka, etc. Or he can do Atmanatma Viveka with the help of teacher and Shastra. Well, then that kind of a mode of mind should be there, but he doesn't have it. And like all other people also, they generally, whoever listens to for a first time, etc., even many times, even if we listen, still that kind of a Viveka doesn't arise. And therefore, well, so, and therefore he is not able to appreciate it, and therefore he says, I am a karta and bhokta, and therefore I feel with my hands, even my arrows, they are going to get killed, and I will incur papam, etc. This is Dharma Yuddha, and he says he is incurring papa. In Dharma Yuddha, when Kshatriya kills somebody, definitely it is not a papam. It is not a papam, it is a punyam. And it is Swargadvaram Apavrutam. Bhagavan is going to tell that for you the Swarga's gates will be opened, etc. Even if you get killed in the process, in the war. Anyway, so if that maturity is not there, Vedanta can be easily misinterpreted, because in previous verses Bhagavan said that Atma is Akarta and Abhokta, and it doesn't have a Punyam and Papam, etc. And it doesn't do any action. So basically, after listening to this, what happens is a person can definitely argue. If he doesn't appreciate it properly, then he can misinterpret, he can misinterpret the things. And what kind of misinterpretation? That's fine. See, because, you said after Atma is Akarta, Abhokta, and just as then Krishna is asking Arjuna to fight and kill this Bhishma and Drona. So then anybody can kill anybody. because ultimately body is going to die. Then if I kill, what is a big deal? Even if I won't kill that person, you said the physical body is going to be destroyed. And that Swami M came and he said that even that destruction also is not there. Physical body, this destruction of the physical body is nothing but the converting from one form to the other form. So ultimately I am not doing anything, even if I kill somebody. What a big deal about it. And as you said, as such, the real person is never get killed. The consciousness is not going to be killed. Even the subtle body is never available for kill. Even you said yesterday the jiva is never get killed. And therefore there is nothing wrong. And even physical body, if I won't kill, then somebody else, it will be destroyed by with some other nimitta. You said that is born of prarabdha and everything. So when the prarabdha is going to be over, it is a karma phala. And it is anityam, and therefore, so anybody can kill anybody. And see, the Bhagavan himself is telling him, kill, get up and fight. The fight for what? Killing those people who are on the side of adharma. And therefore, dehi nityam avadyoyam, dehe sarvasya bharata. So, killing a person, I think looks like there should not be any problem in killing a person. A real person is eternal. So every murderer can abuse Vedanta teaching. And abuse means, I told you, a person has not understood Vedanta in a real sense. But Vedanta is basically never against any adharma. In fact, with the help of dharma, you get a certain maturity, and then only you will be able to appreciate this Vedanta. And therefore, if a person is not mature, then definitely he can not appreciate Vedanta at all. Anyway, so Bhagavan thought, let me talk, because Arjuna was a dharmic person, but still he is not that, paripakva. Maturity is not there, because throughout those years, they were in exile, etc. He had that strong enmity towards Duryodhana and all, because they have done injustice and all. And therefore, he has not given that kind of no, I have forgiven them, etc. That's not the case at all. And therefore, basically, he has immaturity. There is no doubt about it. So Bhagavan has to pick up the new angle, so that he can from that angle he can see that he should fight the war, and ultimately there is nothing wrong in fighting this with these people. So, for fighting war also, he was thinking that I am basically an agent of an action, etc. And that I cannot appreciate that I am a karta, I am bhokta, no problem. But as a kshatriya also, you are supposed to fight. There is a call for you, and basically you should fight for it. And therefore you should not have guilt, etc. Bhagavan wants to explain all these things from the dharma angle. So the second angle in this chapter for Bhagavan, in order to make Arjuna fight this war, is dharmic level. So dharmic angle. And so from dharma angle, from moral angle also he is explaining. So that is what from verse 31 starts. And so Bhagavan says this Bhishma and Drona are to be killed, not because their bodies are mortal, and because since their bodies are mortal you can kill. Because anyway they are going to die, and so you can kill. No, that's not the point. Just because the bodies are mortal, does not mean we can keep on killing anyone. So, or everyone. So they are on the side of adharma, and they have been explained very well that to avoid the war, they have these Pandavas, and even including Bhagavan has done enough efforts. They say samadama danda bheda. These methods should be employed by kshatriya. See, the protection of dharma, it can be done in a society in two ways. Brahmanas do the job of protecting dharma through education. So they impart the education of or teaching of a dharma and show the advantages, etc. So that person prevents from adharma. That's one way of doing. And kshatriyas, he has to protect the dharma by if somebody violates or doing adharma, etc., then they first sama, they will call the person and make him understand that this should not be done, this is not fair, you are violating on somebody's rights, etc., etc. Then Dama. And then they find this person will definitely prevent from adharma. Then they may give some kind of a temptation. Dama means a temptation. Dama means as such money. But here temptation, some kind of a temptation. Okay, you give up this adharma, etc. Don't violate. We are giving you this. That also is a job of Kshatriya, not in Brahmana. Brahmana cannot give anything. Kshatriya only has everything. They can give. Sama, Dama, then Bheda. Bheda means even after giving temptation, he continues. Adharma, etc., then they will call and try to create a fear in him. That if you won't stop, we'll take some action. So that is Bheda. Bheda means a bhayam. Try to create a fear in him. And even still he continues. Then Danda is the only solution. And these people, Pandavas and everyone, they have completed this Samadama and Bheda, they have over. Bhagavan has been tried to create a fear in them also. That has not worked with Duryodhana, except Ani company. And Sama, Dama, everything. Dama also, you know very well, it has been told that you take away everything, just give one house with 5 rooms and all that. Well, still that also has not worked. Another understanding also Bhagavan tried to give, but nothing worked. And after that, no, it's not a problem. Duryodhana, etc., did not understand, it's okay. But then Bhishma and Drona still are on their side. And then definitely now, if they don't understand what is proper, etc., or if they understood but they want to take their part, or their side, then definitely no solution at all but to kill them. There is no other way, because Danda is the only way left for them. And therefore, so Bhagavan is trying to explain that you are, from the ethical angle also, whether you appreciate philosophy or not, don't worry. But from moral angle also, you have to fight the war. And that is the second angle in this chapter, Dharmik Drashti. And it begins with verse 31 and it continues up to verse 33. So 31, 32 and 33 are from a Dharmik Drashti. Bhagavan is trying to convince Arjuna that you should fight the war without any guilt. And you are not going to incur papam also. It is later also is going to tell. And 12 to 30 or 11 to 30 verses are basically philosophical angle from Atmanatma Viveka. Bhagavan tried to create in him through the discriminative inquiry, tried to create some kind of a Viveka in him in order to make him free from the grief that he was thinking this person will die, etc. And Bhagavan said nothing, real person does not die, etc. etc. Jiva also does not die. We have seen everything. So, and now Bhagavan says, Swadharmam chavekshya na vikampitum arhasi. Swadharmam, Arjuna, from the standpoint of your own duty, you should not have hesitation. Na vikampitu arhasi means, vikampanam means you swear away, or you waver, or you hesitate, etc. Na vikampitum arhasi. Don't hesitate, even from the standpoint of your own dharma, from the Kshatriya's duty. Your own duty, swa means own, one's own, and dharma means a duty. And so don't think that they are elder and they are teachers and they are respectables and all. Right now, in this situation, they are on the side of adharma, and whether you start throwing arrows on them or not, they are going to start. And therefore, well, then if they win over you because you just surrender like that, then definitely adharma only is going to prevail in the society. And therefore, it is going to create a tremendous imbalance in the society, and therefore you are supposed to do your duty, and you are Kshatriya also. And so dharma is something which is shashvat, and adharma is not an entity. Hang around. Otherwise, we can kill adharma. We can protect the people, we can save the people, and we can kill only adharma. That is never possible. Adharma is basically, ashraya of adharma is the person. And therefore, if you want to curb the adharma, you have to curb the person only. And therefore, if by no means, if he is not going to be controlled, and he continues, adharma spreads also, and makes a victim of his adharma, well, then definitely danda has to be given. And therefore don't think of any other thing. Think of your own dharma. And this is swadharma is a very technical word basically. So there are two types of. We'll look into this now first before going into the verse. Swadharma means one's own duty. But dharma, basically, the duties are of two types. It is classified into two types. One is a samanya dharma and another is a vishesha dharma. There are two types of dharmas. So samanya dharma means a universal dharma, means it doesn't depend upon a person's varna. I mean, whether he is a brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra, etc. Or it doesn't depend upon a sex also, male, female, etc. It does not depend upon any ashrama also, brahmachari, grihastha, etc. I mean, for all. It's for all. These are certain things which are supposed to be followed by all, and therefore they are called samanya dharma, general rules. And in Yoga Shastra, these general rules are very beautifully called yama and niyama. So even one wants to know what are the general rules, then one should just look into. In Ashtanga Yoga, these are the first two steps called yama and niyama. And what are the yamas? Ahimsa, satyam, asteyam, and brahmacharyam and aparigraham. What are niyamas? Shauchaha, santoshaha, tapaha, swadhyaya and ishwar pranidhana. So the first yama means we are talking about now what? Samanya dharma, general rules which are to be followed by everyone, male, female, and any kind of a varna, any kind of a ashrama, everyone has to follow this. And therefore, in that first is ahimsa. Ahimsa means one should not have a violence at three levels, and of course at the physical level, at a level of speech, and at the level of mind. So one commits violence at all the levels, and therefore one should try to prevent oneself from this kind of a violence. And I am telling you, there is no absolute ahimsa possible. No way. Ahimsa, you see, there is himsa and ahimsa. Now in word himsa, if you put that is called nai, basically. Nai means it indicates a negation. It indicates anyarthe nai, then alparthe nai, virodarthe nai. There are various ways you can take, and therefore. Like you say, how we use this kind of a phrases even in other languages also. Like, suppose if somebody asks you, how is the food? He is taking food, and you say, how is the food? He says, well, there is no salt in this. There is no salt in this dal or whatever. Actually, it is there. It is there, but it is little. So when it is little, person says there is no salt. So the negation is in terms of what? Alparthe. Negation. That ahimsa means na himsa. Na himsa is ahimsa. Right? So non-violence. But non-violence means not just negation. Well, it is not an opposite of himsa. Ahimsa, non-violence, is not an opposite to himsa here. It is alparthe. So you should try to minimize the violence. Why, Swami, you are saying one should be free from total violence? That's correct, sir. But at the level of mind, etc., it's very difficult to control. Sometimes it just because of our vasanas, even we have purified our minds to a great extent, made it free from ragadvesha, etc. Ragadvesha only brings this himsa, etc. But then basically, still, because so many vasanas are there, and sometimes some negative tendencies are there. So you just, at a level of mind, one commits a himsa. That's there. So you try to minimize it. That's first yama. And second is satyam. That has been very well told in Taittiriya Upanishad. Satyanna pramaditavyam, satyam vada, dharmam chara, etc. etc. Satyanna pramaditavyam. Never have a pramada in your life for satyam. Satyam means speaking the truth. That's a very big dharma. It has been ahimsa and the satyam. And then asteyam. Steyam is generally a theft. But asteya means not taking somebody else's property, not taking somebody else's things. Well, that is also universal dharma. Brahmacharyam, chastity. Aparigraham, these are has a very, very wide meanings. But if we go into that, we will pick up, we will be on the road of Yoga Shastra. Therefore, in simple language, let us first understand this much. And so, Brahmacharyam is a chastity, and Aparigraham means a simplicity. So, by simplicity means wealth, food, whatever is, should be equally distributed. Because as somebody nicely said, this nature has provided for human need, but has not provided for human greed. And therefore, when there is a human greed, one person has got too much food to eat, and the other person really dies out of the food. In this situation, in this pandemic, and even before that, in a drought, etc., in some African countries, that Rwanda, and I mean, the country's name also we may not have, but then so much of the person starves and dies out of not having food. And at other places, there is a waste of food. So that's really that's not good. So aparigraham means equal distribution of the food, etc. So there is that kind of an imbalance in terms of food, imbalance in terms of other possessions, imbalance in terms of wealth, or whatever. And so, but what can I do? The pandemic is there. No, we are not telling you. I should not be responsible for imbalance. I have to see this much in my life. I should not be responsible for imbalance. Either consuming too much, or and if you consume food, then they make more, and then without telling them, without giving them any notice, you won't eat for 3 days, and therefore it becomes a waste. And this is not fair. This is not fair. So even if whatever you are consuming, you consume, no problem. But then if you are not going to consume due to ill health or whatever, or you want to fast, whatever, then they are going to prepare the same amount, and then you become responsible for it, for imbalance. So here they throw it outside, and somewhere else people are starving for the food. I know this situation, in pandemic, more than me, people are out of jobs and they don't have money even. They don't have money even for the food. And if this continues for some time, I'm sure that in world there will be people who will be really be devoid of even food also. Anyway, of course, government takes care, etc. But there is always some kind of a misproportion, etc. And so somebody takes away many packets. In Delhi, people were standing in the queue of where the food was distributed. They were taking food. So we think that they are in need of food. They don't have a job, etc. And in the same street opposite, there was a wine shop, and it got opened. The people from this queue and went there to buy the liquor. So this is how it is. Anyway, so this is all a part of Vyavastha. But so basically, I should not be responsible for the imbalance. So aparigraha means a balance. Aparigraha means an imbalance. So when I have got more, of course, and I should be ready to share with others. And this sharing tendency is called aparigraha. This is also universal dharma. I have talked about yama right now, niyama, etc. That is shauchaha, santoshaha, tapaha, swadhyaya, and Ishwar Pranidhanam. I will talk it tomorrow, because we will be picking up few questions now. So I have just introduced this verse so that we can see more detail of this tomorrow. Now we'll invite few questions from the people who have some questions. Please. 1 minute. Huh? Any questions?
Yes, if nobody wants to start, I want to ask you.
Yeah, please start. Please start.
So, last couple of evenings, I may have missed part of your lecture, so I just want to make sure that I didn't miss out anything. Question I have is, in this Mithya Jagat, when we talk about you mentioned that even the jiva, the subtle body, cannot be destroyed.
Yes.
And my question in terms of Gnani, from the perspective of a Gnani,
Ah.
once they are grounded
Ah.
in the true nature
Ah.
and they have to finish their life, and that subtle, they have to function through the subtle body regardless. They need the subtle body to function as long as the body is still prarabdha permits
Yeah, correct.
body.
Yeah.
Now, what exactly happens to the subtle body in case of Jnanis? The subtle body, from the Ajnani's viewpoint, we said that okay, it's something indestructible and it's going to carry forward and move on. The Jnani's subtle body, after the physical body is dropped. Now, here is the underlying question I have. The reason I gave you the background, I'm just thinking out loud from the broader perspective. From my experience visiting places like Ramanashram, places like Paramahansa Yogananda's place, or even our Pujya Swamiji's Kutya, Ganga, I still feel the presence of their power. There is something about those places where you feel some kind of vibrations in terms of their Mahatma presence. So I'm trying to connect these two things. Is there any such relationship, or what exactly happens to the subtle body? Again, from the perspective of Ajnani only, Nenda Mitya Jagat, basically what exactly happens.
So you want to convey that from the standpoint of Ajnani, what happens to the Jnani's subtle body?
Correct. After the body drops.
Yeah, that's correct. So the physical body also, of course we have discussed, but you may not have been there or whatever. So physical body, of course, prarabdha is over and so it is going to die. Subtle body also is a composite entity, right? It's made up of elements. It's an elemental body only. So made of elements. And therefore that also is going to be destroyed. Because now there is no purpose for the jnana. So destroy means what is happening is they go back to their own own constituents. Like, what is made up of, the indriyas are made up of various elements, we know very well. We have already seen in Tattva-bodha also. Mind is made up of the sattvic aspect of 5 elements. And prana is made up of rajasic aspect of the 5 elements, etc. So they go back to the respective constituents, respective elements, I mean. It is made from element. That element is a cause, and so this is an effect, and it goes back to the cause. So anything which gets destroyed is always goes to the cause, goes back to the cause.
It does get destroyed.
Destroyed means our destruction is always on terms of this only.
Right.
Physical body also, his physical body is also destroyed, but basically it converts to ashes.
Correct.
So there will not be nothing will become zero kind of a thing. Any form is converted to a new form. So it is just physical body in terms of ashes. And then the other elements, of course, ashes will be our earth element. But other water was there, it has got evaporated because you put on a fire. I mean, and therefore water gets evaporated. Space which was inside merges with this space, etc., etc. Vayu which was there, the prana, etc. was there, merges with this air. That way. So ultimately, whatever the physical body or subtle body, etc., goes back to their own constituents only. And avidya, well, the karana sharira also, I have told you, it becomes so fragile for him. And so his past karmas, etc., goes back to the samashti karma. That's what happens. Of course, we did not discuss, but goes back to samashti karma. Jivas have a samashti karma as well as vyashti karma. Right now we are facing the pandemic is jiva's samashti karma. in that also Jiva has their own Vyashti karma also. Like America has, I mean, it's with all respect, but America is facing some more than even country like India, etc. Therefore, here the Jiva's karmas are of a little different type. And here in that also individually someone, get infected, etc. and undergo suffering, etc. Well, that's a Vyashti karma. So, this Vyashti, Samashti all the time will be there. It will be there. The Srushti is from Samashti karma. So, his Karana Shariram, which is basically having, the karmas, Sanchita, etc., will merge into Samashti karmas of a Jiva. Avidya is gone. Pardon?
Agami karma?
Agami won't be there, no? Agami won't be there. Because basically he knows. Once he knows, then whatever he does will not be Agami at all, because he is not a Karta. He is not performing action at all. And therefore he doesn't have Agami. That Agami only for Ajnani becomes Sanchita when he dies. Right? When he leaves the body, the Jiva who has done the karma in this life is called Agami. Prarabdha he is already experiencing. From Sanchita the Prarabdha comes. Right? A portion from the Sanchita. That's the Prarabdha. And then in this Janma he becomes Agami. And when he leaves this body, Ajnani I am talking about, when he leaves this body, those Agami become Sanchita. That is going to come in our Tattvabodha also. It's going to come about karmas, etc. And therefore from Sanchita then again he gets a portion, becomes a Prarabdha, etc. What you are saying?
So now coming to the ultimate question, the underlying thing, the presence of these Mahatmas in their surroundings, in their location, whether it's a Virupaksha cave or is it just the mind's projection?
It's basically, frankly speaking, this is our Shraddha, honestly speaking.
That is what it is, right?
Our Shraddha. With all the respect to all the Mahatmas, but basically it is our Shraddha. See, no one can experience any kind of a body other than the physical body.
Right.
Physical body is destroyed. And subtle body is a subtle body. It is never available for any kind of a transaction. So even suppose you say that subtle body, physical body, no one accepts that, physical body is there right now. It is destroyed. Then subtle body, then anyone will say, I am feeling his presence of a subtle body. But subtle body also won't be there. For a Jnani, subtle body won't be there. But suppose there is a Mahatma who has not gained Jnanam. Maybe Upasaka, maybe great yogi, any kind of a person, or with extraordinary powers, etc., whatever. Still the subtle body is never available for transaction, any kind of an experience. When the subtle body enters the physical body and goes to the respective locations of the various constituents of the subtle body, goes to the various positions in the physical body, then it starts experiencing and you start experiencing the person, basically. So, subtle body as such is never available for any transaction. That is how we are not able to see when the Jiva is living, right? Sometimes we know the person is living. You are right on the side of the bed. You are knowing also on the last moment you are there. But you are not able to, otherwise we will not allow Jiva to go. We will just put it back. You should be there for a few years. You should not go. You are my father, etc. And I need your guidance. Go back in your body, but it doesn't happen that way. So subtle body, the physical body is not available for transaction, honestly speaking. Physical body. Now just see this virus. You imagine how much we are so, we should not talk much about it, but what I am saying is the virus physical body, not available for us. That's how, why should we wear all this? If we are seeing and able to protect ourselves, we don't know how the person gets infected. It's very, very difficult to know. And it has its subtle body, right? It has also a subtle body. Anyway, what I am saying is, subtle body, even if some Mahatma's subtle body is there, it won't be available for transaction. And so you won't feel any kind of an experience. Transaction is this, you feel his presence or something. That is basically our Shraddha.
Is it possible that the people visiting those kind of places, being more pious or dedicated or devotees, this sattvic that presence is felt, that the culmination of all these people visiting these kind of places. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud, and I don't want to take up too much time now. It's time for other people. But I'm sharing the personal experience visiting those places. So anyway, let's put a stop. Let have other people. But I don't want to take up too much time. Thank you.
Okay.
Swamiji, one question from the previous verse. The Dehi, we learned that the Dehi is the Jiva, the Ahankara.
Either way.
So,
Dehi.
So, I mean, Jiva or the Ahankara, yes. So, in that verse, Avadya, we said that this is for the Dehi because in there Bhagavan said that so many Dehas. So, in that perspective, we said it about the Ahankara and Jiva and not the Atma.
See, what happens is, Ahankara is a Vesha of this consciousness, right? We have said that. It's a costume of this consciousness. So, consciousness also can be called Dehi. Indweller of the body is a consciousness because any Deha is a non-separate from the consciousness. We talked in today morning also. So, the very existence of the Deha, subtle body, also is due to Atma alone. Existence of the subtle body is the existence of the Atma, right? No independent existence, right? And then existence of Ahankara also basically. Subtle body means Ahankara, I thought. And that is also basically existence of Atma. Other than Atma, nothing is independently existing. Everything is non-separate from the Atma. And identifying with that, considering, claiming that I am subtle body, I am mind, etc. That is called Ahankara. That is the indweller of the body. So I am a seer, right? Same consciousness with respect to identifying with the eyes is called seer. Am I right? Then the same consciousness that are identified with this particular indriya called hearing, our perception of, organ of hearing, is called hearer, right? So we have saying that hearer means ER. ER is a consciousness basically. It indicates a conscious principle. So anyway, so indweller of the body, if you consider as identifying with the different constituents of the subtle body, we call it Jivaha. Or Jivaha you can call Ahankara also. Then I have interchanged the words also, Ahankara, subtle body, Jiva. You might have seen that yesterday. Because basically Jiva is nothing but the consciousness, right? Jiva is nothing but the consciousness. Jiva is nothing but the Brahman. That is what the Mahavakya is. You are Brahman, means which you consider yourself as a Jiva, but you are Brahman. So, consciousness with respect to or identifying with the subtle body, right, is called Jiva, is called Ahankara. That's all you can call, right? If you say Ahankara or Jiva is a conscious entity, don't worry. So, consciousness with respect to identifying with the just subtle body. Of course, causal body will be there, definitely. That's called Jiva. Because Bhagavan says indweller of the body. So, body Bhagavan has excluded as though. Of course, in a waking state, the consciousness identified with all the three bodies, right? Including physical body. But here Bhagavan says Sarvasya Dehi. So in all the Deha, there is Dehi. Is Avadya. If you say Dehi as a Jiva, right? Then Jiva also is Avadya, is not available for destruction. And Nitya Avadya means it is never be destroyed. Ever indestructible. Jiva. And Jivas are many because subtle bodies are many. Could you follow? One consciousness.
All the Dehas.
Exactly. Sarvasya Dehi. In all the Dehas, the Dehi identifying with that particular subtle body, that Dehi is which is Avadya. If you consider Dehi as a Jiva, it is not it doesn't get destroyed.
Yes.
But ultimately, Dehi is nothing but one consciousness,
One consciousness.
which pervades all the subtle bodies. And
Yeah,
therefore,
now it makes sense because it's a
yeah,
it's a plural because
yeah,
all the
Sarvasya Dehe
jivas are
Dehi.
many.
Right,
Jivas
right,
are many, yes. Okay.
right.
Thank you. Now it makes sense.
Okay. Somebody else? Any question? Nobody has question. Urmilaji has a question. I am not able to hear Urmilaji. I don't know why. Oh, I have unmuted. Okay.
Oh, now, I have a question. This is somewhat a simple question. I'm always wondering what is the sharira of an insentient object is like that of the table. So you would say the table sharira is the stula sharira only?
Bas, that's all. It's a gross
That's
body.
all.
That's all.
Just that's it.
There is no subtle body in that. No subtle body. So there are certain gross bodies which contain a subtle body. There are certain gross bodies doesn't have any subtle body at all. If subtle body is there, then it would behave as a conscious being. Table starts behaving as a conscious being. Subtle body is not conscious, but subtle body becomes a medium to manifest the consciousness, and therefore it starts behaving as a conscious being, but it doesn't. So subtle body is absent there, definitely. So there are certain forms which doesn't have a subtle body, where the subtle body is required, in order to experience the prarabdha. In order to experience. See, if you want to experience something, you should be experiencer, right? The experiencer is what? Ahankara is experiencer. Ahankara is what? Subtle body. Am I right? If subtle body is not there, you are not seer, you are not hearer, you are not talker, you are not goer, you are not nothing. And therefore, there are certain special forms which become an counter for experiencing the punya and papam. And to experience punya papam, a special form is given, as well as a subtle body, which is nothing but the instruments to experience punya papam. So gross body, a counter to experience punya papam, and subtle body, a sadhanam, instrument to experience punya and papam. Both are required. So there are this kind of a form, basically are a special form which contain even the subtle body. And then subtle body is there, and therefore consciousness gets reflected, and therefore becomes ahankara because of ignorance. There is no, Atma becomes as though ahankara, wears a costume of a subtle body and experience varieties of things. This becomes a counter. So any sukha dukkha enters through this. But to experience sukha dukkha, you require instruments also. So both are required. Then the ahankara experiences this punya papam, etc. And of course, it becomes karta and creates a new karma also for him. If you have a human body becomes a karta also again, and creates some more, karma phala for future experience. We call agami karmas. They are done by karta, and that karta is that ahankara. Ahankara is there in a human body. The subtle body is always, in accordance with the gross body. So the subtle body of a human being is different from the subtle body of a donkey. We have discussed all this thing. So donkey undergoes a different kind of experiences. Donkey's mind also is different and our mind is different. From there itself you can understand the subtle body is different. And their eyes have a certain power, my eye have a different kind of a power. Right? They have a different kind of a organ of taste, honestly, because they what we eat they may not like also. We feel it is very sophisticated food, but they don't like, so they will throw away. So we don't want to discuss, but that is the thing. That is the thing. And of course you won't kick, right? That will kick. Yeah. So that's ultimately. So many ways. The subtle body is always in keeping with a particular gross body. In order to experience the karmas which are required to be experienced as a human being. Could you follow? Which are required to be experienced as a human being. Those kind of karmas. That is how we have three types of yonis also. Three types of janmas. One we consider adho yoni, where they experience more dukkham. And there are urdhva yonis like, the devatas, etc. They experience more joy compared to the human being. And so human being also has sukha and dukkha both. But those sukha dukkha are very, very different from the sukha, etc. experienced by the devatas and dukkha experienced by the donkeys, etc. The environment will be the same. But the pain and pleasure are definitely different. And to experience special type of pains and pleasure, well, you need a special type of a body as a counter, and you need a special instruments also to undergo those kind of experiences. So always subtle body is always in keeping with the gross body. And it's amazing that subtle body, once it leaves human body, then whatever may be the next body, then subtle body transforms into that. It becomes it will become in keeping with that particular physical body. It's amazing. Then any question? No one has question. That's wonderful.
Swamiji, I have a question.
Okay.
This is Pradeep.
Yes.
Our desires are happening at the mana level.
Yes.
And yet we start the controlling process at the physical gross body, Indriya level.
Indriya also is a part of, we have put, if you are talking about the sheets, then definitely Indriyas are included in, especially the sense organs are included in Manomaya and Vijnanamaya. Yeah. And the physical body is a Annamaya. Yeah. Then?
Yeah, and subtle bodies, Karmendriya are also there. That's what you are
That is included in Pranamaya. Yes.
But still the subtle body's part that is mana. That is where the desire
The subtle body has all this. See, we have seen that these three bodies are only divided into these 5 types of experiences, 5 layers of experiences. The 3 bodies only. The Annamaya Kosha is nothing but a physical experience. That's all it is. And that is like I am tall, I am this, I am that, I am human being. All these kind of experiences are there. And that is pertaining to the physical body. And therefore, Annamaya Kosha, as in the definition you might have seen, the last one is told that it is Annamaya Kosha is nothing but the Sthula Shariram. That has been told also there. So the 3 bodies are only divided into 5 layers of experiences. And the 5, why you are dividing? Because there are 5 types of experiences, and each level of experience is basically nothing but a mistake. And so in order to, rather than seeing them as 3 bodies, we are looking from a different angle to these 3 bodies, and that angle is nothing but in terms of experiences. Then?
Okay. So, another question in terms of learning. When we see a flower, and there is a flower vritti that comes into the mind, Buddhi says, yeah, it is flower. That's how we recognize the flower.
Yes.
When we see something new, what is the process by which learning happens?
See, the learning happens many ways. The learning continues throughout the life, basically. But some of the learnings are in a childhood. As a child, I used to connect a word and a meaning. And that is how, suppose a cow comes to your home and mother gives a food. And definitely, the mother tells to a child that it is a cow. It's a cow. Let us say this is the first time a child is seeing a cow. And then again cow comes. Then perhaps child of course may know, but he may forget, perhaps. Then again mother says it's a cow. That's a different cow, but still he says. Earlier there was a different cow, now this is a different cow. But mother says this is cow. Third time comes, then child says this is a different. Third means not the same cow. Another cow has come, which has a different color maybe, which may not have horn also perhaps. And maybe the size also differ. But somehow child immediately tells to mother that it is cow. Now how the child has recognized? Because that is not the same cow. And perhaps some of the characteristics of a cow are not there also, which were there in the previous two cows. Then how the child has learned? So we always say that there are certain characteristics commonly present in the cow. Those common characteristics are picked up by the child. And that is how he is able to recognize, even if a new member of that family or that species comes, then he is able to recognize it. And that is how every species has a certain common characteristics. And those common characteristics are learnt by the child. And that is how we then, throughout the life, we recognize those things are, whenever we confront, when we experience, let's say, then we recognize those things. Because this cognition has taken place in the mind of a child, and he has connected a word and a meaning with that common characteristic. Word and meaning he has connected. And now if that meaning means a particular cow has come, well, he immediately in his mind the word, arises. So this is how the knowledge takes place. And of course then during life, everything you have not experienced as a child. So when at this age, suppose when I have come here in US for the first time, and I am learning many things. They are talking many things even in the kitchen also. I mean in the dining hall. This is that and this is that. I have to ask you, what is it? What is it? What is it? So then you learn. So meaning means the object is there right in your front, and you ask the person what is it? So it gives a name. So you connect name and meaning. That's a knowledge. Knowledge is nothing. Knowledge of object is you connect with different names so that you can recognize again and again. That's how. So the learning is there throughout the life. So maybe you are seeing the flower for the first time, then you will recognize it as object. Or then you come across, suppose for the first time I am saying, and then you come across, you will tell it is an object. That's all you will say. And this object is very, I like this object, etc. He doesn't know name. But then he may discover himself the name going through the dictionary or whatever. Or he may ask somebody. And then you connect that object, that is meaning, and the word. And that becomes a knowledge for you. Knowledge of object has already taken place as a cognition. But then it becomes a recognition. And now that object again comes in front of you, you recognize it. So this is how it takes place.
So basically questioning about the objects or connecting different kind of ideas that we have already learned in associating things, that is the way it is described in psychology and things. That's how the learning happens.
Learning happens. This is a way of learning, and child. That is how child, who doesn't know any words, no language, and doesn't know objects also. Being a child, doesn't know objects, does not know the meaning, does not know the words, no language, no other knowledge, and so he just connects. Every day he connects word and meaning. That's how we always teach so many words and also the meaning. From A means apple, and then you will show the apple. And that is how it is. Anyway, so you, apple, word and the meaning apple. That's how from ABCD, you know, the entire alphabet, we pick up a different object, and that's a meaning, and you give the name also.
Swamiji?
Huh?
There is a confusion over the binding desires and non-binding.
Yes.
So what are the common binding desires and which one we should avoid?
The binding desires are different from everyone, and you have because desires always are different for you and for me, because desires basically are likes and dislikes, and likes and dislikes are different from person to person. You are asking something?
No. So which one for a particular person, a binding desire may not be the binding for others also?
No. That's good question. So the desire which binds you, I mean, you are dependent upon for fulfillment of such desires. The other person does not have that desire at all to fulfill. Even if suppose he has a desire, let's say, like a wealth, you will find that most of the people have a desire of a wealth which is a binding desire. Let's say that. But still you will find there are people who says, no, I don't, because I have some other pursuit in my life which is more important for me compared to even wealth, and therefore I don't want to pursue. There are people I know in India that after retirement they pick up the job again, become consultant and this and that, etc. Because they feel that still they need money. So that's a binding desire. And there are people who says, no, after retirement, no, we don't want to earn any money. I want to pursue something else. So even though we feel that a particular desire, a desire for a particular thing is a binding desire, it looks like, but it is not binding for everyone. It is not universally binding. It always depends upon the person.
So Swamiji, can we say that if we are attached to the results of a particular desire, and there is a desire to do action, then if we are attached to the results of that action, then it becomes a binding desire?
Well, we can say that. Yes, that's correct. It is going to come in verse, our chapter 2 only, Karmanyeva Adhikarastha, etc. You know, that portion is a Karma Yoga portion, and that the Karma Yoga is basically to make your desire free from the binding. That's all. Binding to you. That's all it means. You will have a desire, but it will make you free from compulsory fulfillment of that desire. That's all it means. Even if you won't fulfill, you won't be disturbed. That's all it means. Desire will not go away. Okay, shall we stop now? 5:23 now. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.